The National Endowment for Liberty presents At Issue, the in-depth forum on freedom in America today. Hello, I'm Mike Hayes. The host of At Issue is the physician, author, and former member of Congress, Ron Paul. Ron?
Thanks, Mike. If you've ever served on a jury, you've participated in one of the few times in which ordinary citizens wield real power in our political system. But chances are nobody bothered to tell you how much power you really had. In today's program, we'll tell you some things judges and lawyers don't want you to know.
Our program, as usual, will consist of our probe report on what's at issue, reactions from a group of average citizens somewhere in the country, and an in-depth analysis of the entire subject by our panel of experts. We'll begin our probe report, Power to the Jury, following this brief message. A typical American courtroom. Here, day after day, week after week, the laws and the people of our nation meet face to face. In any individual case, it is a virtual certainty that the law was not passed with these precise circumstances in mind. It was passed by a busy legislature with 1,000 other things on its agenda and its mind. It won its passage most probably because a majority of the legislators thought it fit their ideological agenda, or would enhance their re-election chances, or was requested by a special interest to which they owed a favor. In most cases, they never even read the actual bill itself. Legislators are government employees, and so is the judge who presides in this room. In the whole process, there are only 2 points at which ordinary citizens get to make decisions. One is in the voting booth, and the other is here, in the jury box. Here, ordinary men and women make decisions on whether or not to take a person's property, liberty, even his life. They have the power to judge the facts of the case at hand. And when they want to exercise it, they also have the inherent power to judge the worthiness of the law itself.
In a criminal case, when a jury goes back and closes the door, they are a power unto themselves. They can do what they feel is right, notwithstanding what the instructions are. It is what 12 minds determine should be the appropriate verdict in that particular case.
These principles date back centuries. A famous case involved the Quaker leader William Penn.
William Penn, I guess, was where it all started. He was out preaching in the streets, got arrested for it. This was back in 1670. And even though it was very clear that he had been doing what was against the law at that time, preaching on the streets, the jury refused to convict him. The reaction of the judge was to send 4 of the jurors to jail because they hadn't followed his instructions. But a higher court overruled that and said that juries had the right to judge both the facts and the law. And that was really the beginning of the idea of jury nullification in British law, and then it came into American law.
The Penn jurors struck a blow for religious freedom. In the colonial United States, it was a case involving freedom of the press, which helped establish the right of juries to nullify bad laws.
A lot of journalists are familiar with the Peter Zenger case. What they may not realize is that was essentially a case of jury nullification. The jury ignored the instructions of the judge. And again, a very important precedent was set.
Half a century later, America's founding fathers recognized the importance of juries to the functioning of a free country. Jefferson called trial by jury the only anchor ever imagined by man by which a government can be held to the principles of its Constitution.
Up until about the middle of the 19th century, it was standard practice in this country for judges to instruct lawyers and for lawyers to instruct the juries on their right to judge both the law and the facts. And people such as the first Chief Justice, John Jay, Thomas Jefferson, and a panoply of famous legal scholars through American history have supported the concept.
Today, judges almost never instruct juries that they have the right to judge the law as well as the facts.
We've always tried to rely on the jury system. But jurors have a innate sense of what's right and what's wrong. That always seems to come through during a trial. But when they go back to the jury room, if a juror receives an instruction of law telling them that they have to follow the law, and they don't like the law, many jurors feel honor-bound to do that.
Concern about the dwindling power of juries has resulted in the birth of a citizens' campaign to bring about a change in the way judges instruct juries.
Real careful to inform defendants of their rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say may be used against you, all that stuff. We all know Miranda's by heart. We've seen it on television 2,000 times. Right? But they don't read the jury its rights, do they? The jury has plenty of rights. And one of the most important ones is to decide whether the law is just.
Most jurisdictions in this country today, if an attorney stands up and starts making arguments, telling juries that you have the right to go back and decide as to what you can do and what you can't do. You're a power unto yourself. Start to give the classic jury nullification argument. A judge would stop you as soon as he sensed that was happening, tell the jury to disregard it, sanction the lawyer, and tell the lawyer would be held in contempt of court if he continued arguing along those lines. So there's a very thin line that one has to walk when trying to talk to a jury about jury nullification.
But today you are the law. You are the law. Not some book, not the lawyers, not a marble statue, or the trappings of the court. See, those are just symbols of our desire to be just. If we are to have faith in justice, we need only to believe in ourselves and act with justice. See, I believe there is justice in our hearts.
In the movies, dramatic moments and happy endings abound. But preserving the rights of juries is important in real life, too. 12 honest people with justice in their hearts sitting in these chairs are the citizenry's ultimate defense against bad laws, corrupt officials, and government tyranny, all of which we surely have today, though we may disagree on exactly how much. Regardless, we cannot afford to see the power of the jury further eroded through design, neglect, or apathy. Sooner or later, the day will come when it will be needed desperately.